to a podcast about something. I am recording with Eric again today. He is with me via Skype. You there, Eric?
I am here. How you guys doing today?
Thought he wasn't there for a second.
So today. Good to have you.
Oh, good to have me. Yeah, good to have you also. Today we've got a podcast about Ant-Man and the Wasp. We both saw this over the weekend, somehow at the exact same time, but in different theaters. I texted Eric when I was done, or like in the middle of the credits, waiting for the second credit scene, and Eric's like, "Oh yeah, I just finished," and I was like, "Oh, that's weird."
Oh yeah, I know. I was gonna go Thursday night, and then I got lazy. I'm a teacher, so this is summertime, and so like if I have to do anything
a lot going on in your life.
If I have to do anything constructive, like do a little side job or something, I'm just like, you know what, I'm getting home, I'm not going back out. So I don't know. This didn't have the weight of like a Civil War or anything like that, so I didn't really rush out. Friday night I had some things.
Saturday afternoon was a good time.
Oh yeah, it's a $5 matinee. So I can't.
Where did you go? I paid $12 for a matinee.
Where were you, Orlando or something?
No, I was at Gulf Coast Town Center. Maybe it was $10 for the matinee. It wasn't $5. I can tell you that.
Oh, $5 is the AMC in North Fort Myers.
Oh yeah, I don't like going there. Sorry, North Fort Myers.
It's worth the price, but I'll tell you what. If you're in the Southwest Florida area, you got to try out the Edison 8 Theater by the Edison Mall, and it's on Winkler, and it's got $7 matinees, $10 night showings, but every seat in there is like reclining, leatherish seat. It's really cool.
We are accepting sponsorships, Edison 8, for all this plugging we're doing for you too.
For all this plugging we do, I think this is like the second or third time I've mentioned them. So
I saw
Sicario there, the new Sicario.
Oh, nice.
And it was great too, by the way.
I was on Twitter. I was going back and forth with another podcast. It's called For Better or For Worse, and they do like they're husband and wife, and they make each other watch movies that they wouldn't otherwise watch.
I saw the tweet about that. That was
good. And I basically sold them on Simply Safe and was like, hey, Simply Safe, hit me up here. I'm plugging you pretty hard. So but they didn't come through. Yeah, still waiting. Anyway, so we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp, same time, different theaters. We'll just do like a spoiler-free overview, and then in a couple minutes we'll get into spoilers, talking about what it means for this movie and for Infinity or Avengers 4, whatever they're going to call that one. I liked it. It was goofy and enjoyable, kind of like the first one. I posted on Twitter while I was in the movie that Paul Rudd is a national treasure, and I wish 100%. He was in every movie. And him and Michael Pena together are just like intoxicating.
I hope they're good friends in real life.
That would be great. That'd be a great chill. Paul Rudd, Michael Pena.
He's nothing like he is in the movie.
I don't think I would want T.I. there. That could get a little scary.
Anyway, I thought it was just to kind of be vague about it. I listened to a couple of reviews on YouTube and all that, and I got to give a shout out. Emergency Awesome. I've given him another plug here.
Yeah, he's good.
He always kind of hits my thoughts before I can actually make my way to that thought. It's like he's thinking it, and it's in my head. He just kind of extracts it. And so he said the perfect phrase for this movie.
Thought extractor.
The perfect palate cleanse for after Infinity War. Because the whole movie, I never once thought about Thanos. I never once thought about Tony or anybody disappearing or anything like that.
That's a note I have. Is it didn't rely on the wider MCU as like a crutch to like Thor: The Dark World is kind of like, look, this is all connected to something bigger, and it kind of kept trying to remind you that it's part of the MCU, but like this one and the first one for that matter didn't need that because it does its own thing on its own time and doesn't really care that the MCU exists. Like this movie would have been a good, enjoyable movie if the MCU didn't exist.
Oh,
and then
100%.
they still give you that connection that you're looking for as well.
Yeah, and these characters, and like you said though, they have a very nonchalant attitude about being involved in the MCU. However, I would say this movie made an even bigger contribution to the MCU based on what's going to happen down the road. As far as like their quantum advancements
potentially.
And all that kind of stuff.
And we'll get into that during the.
What I did learn
during
that
the
all you
spoiler
have to do to
section, we'll
sound
get into the quantum realm stuff because
all you have to do to sound smart when talking about this movie is just put quantum in front of everything.
that's true. That's true.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Quantum particles, quantum realm, quantum leap. I mean, all of it.
Quantum football. You know?
Quantum football would be baller. The ball would be like moving really slow, but you'd also be moving slow. It could be small, and then you could get big. Like, man, those weird mitochondria things would be attacking you.
Well, I guess people, if you have not seen the movie, this is the time to kind of press pause, go see it,
Stop.
come back, press play.
Thanks for listening for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then come back and listen to the next 20 or so once you've seen the movie. Like,
right.
Actually, go now. Go see the movie. Bring your phone in with you and just turn it on right when you're done. So that way it's a seamless transition. Because we're going to get into the spoilers now.
So, all right. So what was let's just start with the simple topic. What was your favorite part? Like, what was the funniest or your favorite?
I really liked the father-daughter stuff between Scott. I wanted to call him Scott Pym, and I knew that was wrong, but he's Scott Lang, and there's Hank Pym. I liked it between Scott Lang and his daughter, Cassie. Like, that stuff really got me the whole time. Like, she was really there for him and liked that he was... her belief in him made him want to break the rules to do what he needed to do to, I guess not save the world in this case, but save Janet Van Dyne and stop Ghost from what she was doing. And I'd like to talk about Ghost more, but you can say what you liked best first, I guess. I guess I'll give you a chance to speak.
Geez, it's so crazy you said that. I actually thought you were referencing the point where Scott kind of had that mental link with Janet, and he was typing into the laptop when they were in their little lab.
Oh, that was really funny too.
That was a really funny part. Probably one of my top 5 parts. But I thought you hit the nail on the head, and I don't even have daughters like you do, and this got to me. It's just like, I really hope my little girl looks at me someday like that.
Yeah. Well, and I heard Avengers. There's going to be a time jump before Avengers 4, and I haven't confirmed this in any way. I read it somewhere. I don't even know where I read it. And that Cassie is supposed to be a teenager at that point and may go into helping Scott somehow. Because I guess in the comics, she becomes a superhero in her own right in some way as well.
Yeah, she's called Stature, correct?
I think that's right, yeah.
Okay, see, I've read that too, and I've actually watched a couple of fan theory videos about that, and it's plausible because, I mean, we're talking spoilers now, so I know it's kind of jumbled and everything. We're not going to really go movie.
No, we're not going to go, not like we did with Infinity War, where we kind of went scene by scene. We're just going to jump around to the things we want to talk about.
So you sip toward the, mid-credit scene, and she says, try to avoid the time vortex. The time vortex is in there. And I think that, I don't know if Infinity War is going to time jump, what is she, like 6 in this movie?
No, I think she's 10. No, he said she's 10, because when the FBI...
She looks young for 10.
Yeah, when the FBI first showed up, he, the first time at his house, he said, you try entertaining a 10, because he, like, crashed through the fence or whatever, he said, you try entertaining a 10-year-old in this house.
10. So, I mean, is it
Plus,
plausible
let me just
to say
mention the FBI dude. I can't think of his name.
Randall Park.
Yeah.
Is it Randall Park?
No, maybe. I don't know.
I'm looking it up right now. But my internet's being a dick.
He was perfect in this. He was perfect for that role. Apparently, he's Agent Wu, and Agent Wu in the comics forms his own S.H.I.E.L.D.-like agency also, so they have something kind of, I think they're called Agents of Atlas, if I'm not mistaken, and so he has potential to grow in the MCU as well, which is great, because I love him in Fresh Off the Boat. He's great as Asian Jim in The Office in that one episode too, when they really confuse. Terrific. He was great in the... Randall Park, yeah. He was great in the interview as Kim Jong-il, or Kim Jong-un, whichever one he was. So I hope that grows.
So, yeah, for some reason, my internet's usually really good, but for some reason it's taken forever to load IMDb. I think that's because IMDb wants to put, like, 78,000 promotional graphics for Ant-Man and the Wasp behind every page. So,
Yeah.
I'm looking up Abby
Randall
Ryder Fortson, who plays Cassie.
She's the daughter, right? Yeah.
She is the daughter. She does look a little bit older in her IMDb photo.
Well, I read that they recast her for Avengers 4.
I'm surprised I haven't lost you yet.
I'm still here.
I know. But anyway, so do you think it's plausible that, I don't think it lists her age or her birth date.
Probably not. Usually actors under 18, it doesn't list anything for them.
That's perfectly understandable too,
Yep.
But she definitely does not look 10. But I think that maybe they did that just to kind of, I don't know, like you said, have a plausible time jump in Infinity War. But, I mean, to think that she could be, 14, 15, 16, you're going to leave everybody that disappeared just gone for 4 or 5 years, and all of a sudden they're just going to come back like the same way they disappeared.
So that's going to be weird, unless they do something with the quantum realm and time jump back after the fact. It's going to be weird, like going into a Spider-Man movie of he's now, like it's 4 years later, he should be out of high school. So do you put him back in high school because he technically didn't go to school for those 4 years, or is he now in college? How does that part of it work? So that it's going to be, if they do a time jump, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle everything that's right. Like for Black Panther, Thor, those guys, it doesn't really matter because the difference between 30 and 35 is nothing, but the difference between 15 and 20 is a very big difference. So it could have interesting effects on the Spider-Man movies if they're going to jumble with time.
I think they need to give up on the whole high school thing with Spider-Man now that
that's where he's compelling.
I understand that, and I know you're a huge Spidey fan, but I'm just saying, as far as like just keeping up with his age and the timeline, like we're not going to get Spidey until late 2019 or mid 2019.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, that's going to be another year. So I mean, if you think Infinity War is a year after Homecoming, and then Far From Home is a year after Infinity War, I mean, he's already in his senior year. So if you want to do one more high school
and
movie,
that's how it was supposed to be. So Civil War, he was supposed to be like a freshman. Homecoming, he was supposed to be a sophomore. Infinity War, like every movie, he was supposed to be going through another year in high school. So Far From Home
of the first trilogy
Far From Home could be his senior year. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that's good. I can deal with that then. But
at least that was the plan when they first brought Spider-Man in before Civil War. Was like they were going to do 4 movies in 4 years, and each one he would be progressing a year. Even if they don't show him a bunch in school, like Infinity War, he wasn't actually in school at all. But he's supposed to be another year older than he was in Homecoming.
Yeah. So I mean, just you could go in all kinds of different directions, but another part that I really enjoy, I really kind of liked. I liked T.I.
I like T.I. I like T.I. in movies, and I like his music. I don't really want to hang around him.
Oh, okay. But I mean, I thought he brings a lot of kind of comedic, like unique comedic charm. I'm not just like butt kissing here because it's horrible. I'm
him
just
and
saying,
the Russian guy did cast too. Like those two just kind of in the background as Michael Pena's going with the Sonny Birch and all those people. Like they kind of just stacked on top of what Michael Pena was doing.
Right. And Michael Pena, obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like kind of written in his contract. Like he's listed as the third lead on IMDb, which makes sense. I mean, not even Michael Douglas was listed higher than him, even though he probably had more face time. So I don't know if that's like a measuring stick or anything like that. But one thing I did find a little bit confusing was why was Walton Goggins like even in the movie?
So that's what I was going to bring up. I was going to ask you. I was going to say let's do something that we didn't like, and I was going to say the exact same thing of like he didn't really need to exist. Like the FBI could have just taken the lab and they could have had to get it back from them, and Ghost could have gotten it. Like they must be trying to do maybe something more with him in the next one or something. They're trying to establish that maybe there's this crime syndicate out there that he's trying to get all this tech for. But he wasn't necessary. I would definitely say.
Not for this storyline anyway. And I like Walton Goggins. Don't get me wrong. I think he does the whole Southern villain thing.
Yeah, he did a great job. It was just like his character didn't need to be there. He just if he wasn't there, everything could have been accomplished either by the FBI or by Ghost.
You could have probably saved a lot of money and just had some random up and coming guy or some random B-lister.
You could have had him helping instead of having him help this, nameless, faceless crime syndicate. He could have just been helping Ghost and Lawrence Fishburne, so that way, like, it gives him a little more.
Fishburne keep tabs on Pym.
Right.
Like, like helping Fishburne keep tabs on
yeah,
Pym
the shady syndicate he's working for is actually Lawrence Fishburne and
that would have been a cool twist. That would have been a cool twist. And it wouldn't surprise me because, they're both still alive. It wouldn't surprise me if that whole Foster character ended up doing just that and enlisting the help of Sonny Burch in a third movie. And maybe you just don't have to find new villains. Maybe Foster becomes the new villain. I don't know.
Foster wasn't really a villain, and let's talk about Ghost, because I really liked Ghost. She was compelling. She had a good reason to do what she did. I wrote raison d'etre in my notes, but that's French, and I don't want to confuse our listeners because we don't have any listeners in France. It's basically a reason for being. She's literally trying to save her own life. She's done bad things to get there, but she's not doing it to destroy the world. She kind of had a point. It kind of embodied the idea of that a villain is just the hero of their own story. Right. Yeah. And apparently they gender swapped her. She's a male in the comics. Don't care about that. The actress did a great job. Hannah John Kamen, who was apparently referred. She was in Ready Player One that Steven Spielberg directed, and Spielberg basically told Peyton Reed, use her. She's great. So that if you can get a shout out from Spielberg, you're probably doing pretty good things.
Agreed. She did a really good job.
I thought she was great. I thought the idea was great that they weren't really fighting a villain. They were just trying to beat someone else to the punch, basically. They had to fight her, but once they all figured out what they were all trying to accomplish, they helped each other. And once, Michelle Pfeiffer, Janet Van Dyne got back, they helped Ghost, and that was kind of the end of Ghost's story. She wasn't.
Well, that was always the plea from your protagonist. Is that she was an antagonist that didn't care about the agenda of the protagonist, and she couldn't be reasoned with, except for when Bill Foster told her not to go after the daughter.
Right.
That's the only time in the whole movie she was ever reasoned with, besides letting Michelle Pfeiffer touch her in the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Right. Yeah. Everything she did prior to that was. Yeah, everything prior to that was a means to an end. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get Janet back to save myself, basically, to absorb the quantum energy from her. Again, just keep saying quantum will sound really smart.
Yes. That's the plan.
So yeah, she was great. The effects of her phasing in and out was really awesome. Really cool. Like she would walk away and you would still kind of see her face there. Like every time she phased and like physically moved to a different spot, I was just like taken back and thought it was awesome.
You know what I missed in this movie? And I was thinking about this the first, when I saw it, is when they're in Foster's office and they're talking about phasing. Mm-hmm. Like I thought he would have made a Vision joke because Vision was the one that phased right through Giant Man. And he goes, something just flew in me in Civil War. And I thought he would make kind of a Vision joke that nobody else in the room would get except for the people in the theater. I thought that would have been a nice little Easter egg, little drop there. Like, yeah, I'm an Avenger, don't forget that.
I think they made enough references to Civil War though. Like there was a point where they were kind of overdoing it.
Germany.
They said it like 15 times. So, did you see Ocean's 8?
Yes, I did.
So that was one of the problems. There were a lot of problems I had with that movie, and we're not going to talk much about it. But every scene they had to mention Danny Ocean in this better movie that could exist with him. So I'm like, all right, just move on. Like if you guys stop mentioning him, people will stop thinking how much better Ocean's 11 is than Ocean's 8. And this one got a little close to that with the Germany references. It seemed like they were kind of piling it on. There were probably 5 of them.
Yeah, but a few of them actually helped develop
Right.
Different phases, not in the story, but different phases in their relationship
Right,
between each other.
They needed to reference it because it was a breaking point for them. So they definitely needed to reference it.
It was the whole reason why he had to be home. It was also the reason why, like, he was so antsy about not being at home. It was just, and then there was the whole point where, Hope kind of opens up to him a little bit and says, if I were there, you'd have never been caught. Mm. And then he kind of officially understands just how important she is to him. And I think that's the moment where he officially says, all right, this woman, I need to do what I need to do to get her to be my partner, my lady, but not just in a relationship. I'm talking about, like, it needs to be Ant-Man and the Wasp. Right. It doesn't just need to be me, and it doesn't just need to be her.
Well, and that's something else that this movie did well. It was Ant-Man and the Wasp. It wasn't Ant-Man and the Wasp. Does that make sense? They both played equal parts, they were equal parts,
and they couldn't win without each other.
And I saw it going, and much worse movies would have gone to the end of the movie. Hope Van Dyne, the Wasp, is in trouble. She's captured. Ant-Man has to save her. They didn't do that. I was very happy they didn't do that.
She saved him several times.
She saved him several times. He saved her a couple times. Neither of them took a back seat to the other. They both, in that final act, they kind of did their own thing. The Wasp was in the chase scene, and Ant-Man was growing exponentially, trying to get the lab back from your boy Walton Goggins as he got on the boat. And I just, much worse movies would have made her take a back seat to him and made it, this is an Ant-Man movie, so he's going to be the only hero here in the end. And they didn't do that. They let her spin, as Boobie Miles would say.
Yeah.
And I would argue that she kicked more ass than Ant-Man did, because
this was almost like a Ragnarok style team up.
Right. It was both of their movie.
100%. I loved it. Like that. I want more of this in the future. I don't necessarily need to. I did find her age. Abby Ryder Fortson is 10. So yeah, right. If anything that happens down the road, she's going to be right on point. Anyway, point being is, one more point I wanted to make about actors and the whole casting. And one guy that was underutilized, but really was kind of funny in every scene because of the change of heart he's had, was Bobby Cannavale, Paxton's character.
No, I love Bobby Cannavale.
I wanted so much more of him, dude. I thought it's so funny. Hey, feel better, buddy. He comes in and gives him a big old hug every time he sees him. It's so uncomfortable.
Paul Rudd's just got his dumb Paul Rudd look on his face every time, and he's like, all right, I guess we're hugging now.
Okay, yep, we're doing that. So
yeah, he's always great in everything he does. Bobby Cannavale is.
He was even good in kind of like the flop, I guess if you wanted to call it that. What was the show he just did on HBO?
I have no idea. He's in Mr. Robot, I know that.
Anyway, I forgot. I forgot the name of the show. It's like he was a manager of a music label, and he was
Will and Grace. That's not it.
It's not it. Anyway.
Vinyl. He was in Vinyl.
Yep. And it only went one season, and then there was supposed to be a second, and they just
there he is.
Canned it.
Richie Finestra. Yeah, I did not ever hear good things about Vinyl.
Well, he was good. I didn't say say that. Those first few episodes were really good, and I think they changed something about.
He's in Boardwalk Empire too. HBO must love him.
Oh yeah, he's a moneymaker. So anyway, what else? What else you want to touch
on? We hit most of the things, I guess, within the movie. Maybe what it means. How do we think it's going? So our first.
What did you think of Hope's, or not, but Janet's little evolution over the last 30 years in the quantum realm? What did you think of, like, the way they portrayed that kind of storyline?
It's fine, and the movie's over 2 hours already, so it's not like they could go a lot deeper with it. It was just like, she's back and she's magic now. And I had a note of like, so what, all the snapped Avengers, she's just gonna like magic them back because she's magic now, and that could potentially be very anticlimactic. But she also got snapped, so that, who knows? I don't like that it was just kind of presented as
getting snapped in the MCU means that you just withered into ash when Thanos did his finger snap. We're not like Snapchatting anybody. Nobody's Snapchatting anyone in the MCU.
Ned might be.
Ned might be. Tom Holland might be snapping some key scenes from Avengers 4. You don't know. I don't know. I thought it was a little too convenient, but like you said, it was over.
She's just back and she's magic now, and she can do whatever we need her to.
Yeah, and I just don't believe that only some will come back when they figure this all out in Avengers 4.
Right. How do only some of the snapped ones come back? Because they all left in the same way. So they all have to come back in the same way. And if only some of the Avengers come back, then what about all the other people that got snapped? Do only some of them come back? Like, we're just going to not put the world back to where it is?
I know. I think that would be really unfair. And that would create even more villains with like the same lame MO, like the same as Zemo. You
basically
Avengers
just
come to
start.
Save the day. They come to save the day, and then just because this guy's family died, which is a huge deal. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying that at all. Like as far as people.
Who cares that your family just disappeared? Not a big deal.
We all have dead people. So I don't know, but I just think you'd create some of the same villains with the same motivation, and it would just get really boring and stale.
Right.
So. I hope they don't go that route. Like,
that's where
you
the
didn't
quantum
bring my
realm
family back after Infinity War.
That's where the quantum realm could come in handy. Is basically, instead of doing a time jump forward, Scott Lang finds a way to time jump back to before the snap and figure out how to stop him in a different way. That would be how you bring everyone.
Photos. I think somebody finds him or he finds them.
Well, so I had a note. I think Avengers 4 opens up with, and I have no idea what's going on in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the last 2 years, but this is just my thought of while I was sitting in there, is Coulson shows up to just walks out on the roof where they were doing it and brings him back, and now Scott's got all this knowledge of things that they can do, and, Coulson's there saying, look, we need your help, because Maria Hill and Fury both got snapped, right?
Yes, they're both gone.
So that leaves Coulson as like the only S.H.I.E.L.D. agent we still know, besides all of the other people in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. who have no movie acting experience.
Do you care if you care if I spoil like the last episode?
No, I'm never going to go back and watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so you can say whatever you want about
and see, it was actually, much to your chagrin, I thought like it got really good. I mean, sometimes there was boring episodes where, like, I don't know, the Daisy Johnson character's kind of worn on me a little bit, but like
It goes back to the same thing of 22 episodes is way too long for a season of television. So you have all this stuff in the
episodes, you mean?
Yeah, you have all this stuff in the middle that's just nothing.
Yeah. So what I was saying is the last scene was, I'm pretty sure Clark Gregg's dead.
Oh, is he?
Like, I don't...
He's been dead before, though.
But the last episode, now I have to go back and think. I'm pretty sure the last episode aired Infinity War, and so they didn't really want to give anything away. So I'm pretty sure he was very close to death, and they left him on a beach with May so that he can live out his last moments with May, who they've kind of finally come to the realization, oh yeah, we are in love. So we're going to be together. So, it's just, that's how that ends, and I don't know if they're going to figure out a way to save him. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that he makes an appearance, or 2 or 7, in Captain Marvel.
He's supposed to be in Captain Marvel, but that's happening before all of this.
In the 90s. I know that. So maybe
it will have an effect on what's going on, but nothing that's happening now has an effect on that, really.
They could really do, I just hope they're and they usually are. Don't get me wrong, but I just hope they're careful with this whole time travel thing.
Yeah,
because
time
you can
travel's
really
tough.
screw up a lot of what's already happened. So.
Right. So one thing I thought was potentially interesting, and I didn't notice this, and I'm sure once all of the frame-by-frame breakdowns of the movie come out, I think it would be kind of cool, and I bet it probably happened, is that in the background, where they like TVs are on or something, there were probably like shots of news shows reporting on Wakanda or the attack on New York. I bet that was going on somewhere in the background. Like in Iron Man 2, they had like Hulk smashing through the city in the background of Iron Man 2 that you didn't notice it until you got the DVD and watched it frame by frame. I just think that would be kind of a cool little Easter egg to show, look, this is all going on at the same time. These guys are dealing with this problem, while on the other side of the world there's a completely different problem that everyone's aware of.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of those are cool little Easter eggs, though. I mean, I don't mind them at all. I just think that, I don't know, lose my train of thought on that one. I agree with you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just think it would be cool, and I'm sure the people at Marvel, with all their infinite wisdom, thought of that before I did, and probably put it in the movie. We just didn't notice it because you're watching the actual movie, not looking for Easter eggs, really.
Yes, and, like you say, you don't see those until you watch them for the third or fourth time, which, when you see them on FX, you find, when they're on FX or TNT, like they have been lately, and it's just, you catch more, obviously, just like you do with most movies, you catch more. So.
Exactly.
Well.
So that's all I've got. What do you think the quantum realm will play in the future? It's going to have to do something.
They wouldn't have introduced it and had such an important part so close to Infinity War. And then not only that, but leave Scott in the quantum realm. So I think in order to go find him, they're going to have to figure this out.
And Captain Marvel's supposed to explore it a little bit more from what I know of it. I haven't looked into too much of it, but Captain Marvel's supposed to explore the quantum realm. So with the quantum realm, do you think it's going to be more the knowledge of quantum energy that's going to help, or the ability to use a time vortex that's going to help solve the snap?
And see, like I said, there's been set photos of like Cap in his, Avengers 1 uniform. They're, and with Tony looking significantly older than he did in Avengers 1. So I think that there could be some time travel.
He is significantly older.
No, like, not older than Cap. I'm just saying older than he looked in Avengers 1.
Well, no, Cap's significantly older than Tony. But Tony is significantly older than he was in Avengers 1, was my point.
Thank you. So. You know it all. So,
Cap's like 150 years old, man.
He's 100. He's 100 this year. But anyway, what I was getting at was there's set photos where just things don't... And not only that, but Scott Lang is in these set photos with Bruce Banner as the Hulk, because he's in mocap with an extender on his back that, an indicator for any actor to look at. Where to look,
yeah.
Yeah, and then Cap's in his original, and I think either they're going to use time to try to go back and collect time stones from other places in time or other dimensions, and that's how they use the quantum realm. I can't even wrap my head around this. I'm going to get on my quantum computer and my quantum phone so I can get quantum smart.
Yes, that's a good idea. Play some quantum basketball while you're there. Jack a couple quantum threes. We'll be good.
Right. I was a little disappointed at it's cute, don't get me wrong, but the post-credit scene with the ant playing the drums was a little too hokey for me. I thought it was just a little too, maybe that was for the kids, I guess, but I was a little disappointed. I thought maybe you'd see something from maybe a little Captain Marvel tease, I don't know, or maybe
we got that Infinity War.
Just a small. No, I know you did, but
you got the question mark on the Ant-Man and the Wasp will return.
Yeah, but that was it. I'm talking about the ant playing the drums. I just wanted like a little bit of, just a little nugget. Just give me a little
maybe
nugget.
That one should,
I don't care if it's 10 seconds.
Maybe they should have swapped them. Do the ant playing the drums. Well, I guess you couldn't because the snap had already happened because you have sirens in the back and the the static on the TV and everything. So you couldn't have done the Ant one first.
Right. Forgot about the static and the sirens.
Yeah. So you could tell that there was something going on, but we already knew something was going on because we had already seen the three of them be snapped.
And I don't know if I made this. I don't know if I made this prediction like during our Infinity War podcast or if I just in general talking Marvel. I thought they were actually going to be as heartless, like just being as gut wrenching as they were with Infinity War. You know, watching T'Challa, watching Peter, watching Bucky, watching Groot, watch them all wither away. I thought that Scott Lang and they were going to save the day. Could you imagine them sitting in that car watching the movie on the laptop and she just withers away? And then all of a sudden Hope withers away and Scott's just like devastated. And then they cut to black.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that.
I'm glad they didn't.
With how well they built that relationship. Well, we don't know if Cassie got snapped or not, but with how well they built that relationship into the movie, that would have been very difficult. And for Infinity War really set you up for that the whole time. Like the stakes kept getting higher and higher as the movie went on. This one was lighthearted and a little actiony throughout the movie. You can't. I don't think you can turn so quickly.
And see, like I told you before, there was it was so breakneck paced and so funny and so different from Infinity War as far as just the tone of it all that you really did forget about the snap.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You already go into it like thinking, okay, this is going to take place before the events of Infinity War, and all right, we already know that, so we're not thinking about it. And I swear to God, during that mid-credit scene, I was just like, oh, they're going to pull him out, and then they're going to figure out something crazy to do, and it's going to tie to Captain Marvel, or it's going to tie to Avengers 4. And then sure enough, they're just, boom, all three of them are just ashes. And there was at least 3 or 4 people in the theater that said, oh, shit.
That's what I felt, oh,
like,
shit.
Like, out loud in the theater. Like,
we had there was an audible gasp, and then one girl, she was probably at least a teenager. I didn't see her, but just from the voice tone, just goes, "You've got to be kidding me." And like you said, I wasn't thinking that Infinity War didn't exist while I was sitting there watching that movie. I had forgotten about the snap, and it just takes you completely off guard. And you're like, oh yeah, that's a thing that happened, and we were waiting for it to happen this whole movie. Oh yeah. And then it happened.
That's funny. All right, so yeah, I mean, this overall, I would put this, it had a lot more Michael Pena in it, which I was very satisfied with. I'm a big Evangeline Lilly fan. I mean, she's not only just a great actress, and she can be serious, she can be fun, but she's so darn pretty. But it's just, and Paul Rudd obviously Paul Rudd is Paul Rudd. He's even more Paul Rudd in this movie than I think he is in most movies.
I have arguments with my wife all the time. We've been going back on a watch through of Friends, and he's like in the 9th and 10th season as Phoebe's boyfriend / husband. And like every time he shows up on screen, I just go, how do you not like Paul Rudd? Like, he's just so darn charismatic and goofy.
I loved him in Friends and how he just did not mesh with the other guys.
No, not at all. I watched the one the other day where he had to spend a night with he had to spend a night
Ross.
like hanging out with Ross. Yeah.
Oh, it was
and
brutal.
They just had nothing to talk about.
And it's just, I thought they did that for like the perfect comedic effect, and it kind of showed a little bit of range that he doesn't need to be every guy that everyone's cool with. Like, he can actually not like people and still be funny. So, I thought it was pretty good. But anyway, but no, I think another great delivery by Kevin Feige and Marvel. Just, and like my boy at Emergency Awesome goes, the perfect palate cleanse. Mm-hmm. I know Captain Marvel's not going to be this much fun, and I know we have to wait a significant amount of time for that because Marvel season's over.
Brie Larson is a good actress. She is no Paul Rudd.
No, I don't think it's going to have a comedic tone to it. So I think this was a good way to end your 2018 Marvel season. Wonderful, wonderful movies between Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I mean, you got a little bit of everything here. And I don't think fans can, I don't think they deserve to make it right. So.
No, I haven't seen any I haven't been looking for much, but I haven't really seen any complaints with it. Apparently, there's new complaints over Spider-Man: Homecoming all of a sudden, like 2 years after it released. Everybody's starting to complain about.
Can you insert like a fart noise effect? You know, when we talk about stuff like this, is that something you can do?
I can work on that.
Any fan that wants to nitpick about some of these movies that aren't meant to be critical masterpieces, like
the whole The Last Jedi fandom that wants to remake the movie, we can just play a big old fart over that.
Insert fart noise here.
Okay,
just
I'll work on that.
Canon, work on it. So yeah. Anyways, Infinity War DVD comes out in about a month. I think it's August 14th. And
Nice.
There's going to be a slew of deleted scenes that kind of explain Thanos' backstory. I'm curious to understand, like, another YouTube user that posts some really great videos is kind of culty. You've heard of him, right? Like,
yeah.
He's I think his name's
You
Tay.
talk about him a lot.
Yeah, I do. Because he knows his stuff, man. It's just, he mentioned, I saw a tweet that all these scenes were going to come out and all that kind of stuff, and I tried to ask him if they were, if those scenes become canon, within the MCU. I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't be, but they didn't make it into the actual film, so I'm not quite sure if it is.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
That's an interesting thought, though, but I'm not.
It's like the Marvel one-shots. Did you ever watch the Marvel one-shots on like the Phase
Those
1 DVDs? Yeah, those are canon. But those were like actual things that they did on purpose.
Right.
Whereas deleted scenes, they were purposely taken out. So you would think that it means that they didn't like them for whatever reason. They didn't want them to be a part of.
They were probably cut because the length of the movie was 2 hours and 36 minutes.
Maybe.
I mean, it's just, I can't imagine that all this wonderful footage about Thanos' backstory wouldn't be included in the canon. So, I don't know. That's an interesting subject for a different time. So,
if you know the answer, hit us on Twitter at APA something.
Email us. I don't care. I want to get into this conversation because I think it should be considered. If they're finished scenes and they were just cut for time because they weren't necessarily critical.
Well, I think then what we would need is an extended cut then maybe. Instead of these are just deleted scenes on the DVD, you'd have to release like an unrated version or extended cut, director's cut type thing.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
There you go. Get working on that, Russo brothers.
Anyway, thanks for your time. This has been fun. It's always fun to talk about fun movies, and we hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I know I would definitely see it again.
Yeah, you go watch it again, people. Go watch any movie with Paul Rudd in it because he's fantastic. And then listen to more of our podcast because there's other episodes that we talk about things.
I'm staring at my copy of I Love You, Man.
Oh, great
film. Go check
film.
that one out. Yeah. Slapping the bass.
That one's great.
I want to say slapping the bass. That's the last thing I want to say on this podcast.
All right. Well, we're not there yet. If you got any feedback, at APA something on Twitter, podcastaboutsomething@gmail.com. You can email us. Subscribe, rate, review on iTunes, all that good stuff. Listen wherever you listen to things. Tell other people to listen. Listen to other podcasts. Just listen to things. That's really all I've got.
Yeah, that's all I got, man. It's been a fun ride. I like it. I like this movie. I hope you got a little bit out of this podcast. If you have anything you want to tell us, if you want to yell at us, if you want to have a fun conversation with us, get at us in the many different ways that you can find us.
We already mentioned those, so just rewind 45 seconds and you'll figure that out.
All right. Well, thanks again. We appreciate you listening.
Go ahead and slap your bass.
Slap it to the bass.
Stay close.